by the water.
Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show. This is another episode of the Chronicles of a Lifer, right? This episode is going to be about the ice cream caper. Now, check this out. Every day in prison, supplies are delivered to the prison by outside companies, right? All of the stuff that we eat, all the stuff we use to clean up, all of those different types of things, they are delivered into the prison every single day. Multiple times a day, right? And most of the time, they have people that are in blue, that are in the penitentiary, unloading this stuff and all this and that, right? But for some of the stuff, we are not allowed to unload because we're not allowed to be in certain areas, right? They most definitely don't want somebody, with a life sentence on the loading dock, right? Because the loading docks are usually near, not too far from the fence. Plus, at the loading dock is the back of the truck. The truck is back there, right? So it's a vehicle that, some people might think to jump in and try to ram the gate and get up out of here, right? Which is a no-no. Absolute no-no. They're going to shoot them things at you, I'm telling you now. But here's the thing. There was this one guy that used to deliver ice cream, and ice cream's a big deal. Ice cream's a big deal to the penitentiary, right? And when he would deliver, this is back in the day when they served us ice cream. They don't serve us ice cream no more, y'all. We got to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this guy, he delivered this ice cream and other kind of sweets and stuff to the prisons. I guess, to put in the vending machines, not for us, but for the people that work here. And the ice cream will come to the kitchen because they do every now and then, once a month back in the day, they would serve us ice cream. I'm talking about those little bitty cups too, not no pint or anything. The ones that smaller than that we used to get back in the second and third grade. You know what I'm saying? Kind you can eat with the wooden spoon, the little wooden spoon, the 2 or 3 bites is gone. But a kid, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's what they would bring to the prison. But this delivery man, he worked for a company and they had all kinds of ice cream. But this is just what they would deliver to the prison, what he would deliver to the prison. So anyway, he would bring, it'd be like a lot of it. I'm talking about pallets full of ice cream. And he would have to unload this stuff on his own. But every day, when he pulled the truck up at the back on the loading dock near the chow hall, he noticed that there were inmates there, you know what I'm saying? So he got with the guy that was over the kitchen that particular delivery day, and he said, could the guys help me unload the stuff? And he said, well, no, they're not supposed to, and we can't make them do that because, we don't pay them to do that, right? So he told the guy that ran the kitchen, he said, I'll pay him. He said, no, sir, you can't pay them to do that. And he said, no, I'm not going to give them any money. He said, I'll give them some, because he had all kind of sweets in there. He said, I'll give them something, that they can eat right away, not something that they could take back with them, all this and that, right? So he looked at the guys and they were like, yeah, we'll do it as long as he pays us, you know what I'm saying? Because it was a lot of pallets and it was heavy and all this and that. And this one guy, he had to do all of this on his own. You see what I'm saying? So they made the agreement. He would pay them, it was 4 guys. He would pay each one of them a box of Nutty Bars, each. Now, y'all know what Nutty Bars are. The can is like the wafers, you know what I'm saying, with the chocolate on them and all this and that, right? And each box would have, 2, 4, 6, 8. I think it was 6 or 8 Nutty Bars in them, right? So this is what he would pay them to unload all of these heavy pallets with ice cream on. I'm talking it'd be like $10,000 worth of ice cream that have to be served to a population that might have like 900 to 1,200 people on the compound. So they'd have to unload all of that, put that in the kitchen. Look here, not trained to do it. They can't use a forklift. They can't use any of that kind of stuff. This is pure muscle. They'd have to do it one pallet at a time. It'd be one man on each end, and they would unload that stuff, and then they would take it, and then they'd walk it into the back of the chow hall, and then they would put it in the freezer and stack it up, right? That's how they did it. So the first time they did it, the guy paid them. He gave all of them a box of nutty bars. They was happy. You know what I'm saying? So they came into the chow hall, and the man that ran the kitchen, he was happy. Everything went smooth. So he would let them get a couple of milks so they can drink while they ate the nutty bars. And he'd tell them, look here, keep that to yourself. Don't be saying this and that and all this old kind of stuff, right? So he made them take it out of the nutty bars and get rid of the box. You know what I'm saying? And they had to eat all of them before they left. They couldn't take nothing back with them. You know what I'm saying? Everything was cool. Everything was smooth. They were keeping it, you know what I'm saying, on the low, right? So like I say, once a month, this guy would come with these deliveries, you know what I'm saying, for the ice cream. But he would come other times to deliver other things. And so they would start to help him do that, right? And he continued to pay them and all this and that, and everything was cool, right? But then on that time when he would bring that ice cream, you know, it was a lot of work. The other times it wasn't that much. It was a lot of work. But keep in mind, you got these dudes that are in and out of this truck, and they seeing all the stuff that he's got up in here, right? So they pop their whip at him and say, man, can you pay us with a popsicle or something like that, right? So he looks at me, he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I got you. So one time he came, and they unloaded all that ice cream. He gave them these candy. It was like they call them magnums, right? It's a candy bar. I mean, a popsicle, right? And it's got that thick coating of chocolate on it on the inside. It's got the ice cream. I ain't never had one. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it on TV. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never had one of these popsicles, right? But they do look good. So they eating this Magnum, they got 3 apiece. They eating the Magnum and all this, and then they chilling, right? So the guy comes back a week later. He gets him to unload the truck again, but he said, look, I got my inventory, my supervisor real tight on my inventory. I can't give y'all none now, but I got you the next time I come through. They were like, no problem. They still helped him unload the truck. They were like, yeah, it'll be cool the next time. He'll get us straight. So the man comes back again, and again. The next 4 times he comes, he got this same story. He got this same story about he can't pay them. Now they looking at him like, okay, now you trying to pop your whip. You feel what I'm saying? And they got tired of it. So they all plotted. They said the next time he come deliver his ice cream, we're going to pop him down. Going to pop him down. So here he comes like clockwork. He delivers the ice cream, the monthly delivery of the ice cream to the compound. So they got the one guy. He's standing there talking to him, keeping him occupied. And what they had done, they stacked up some pallets so that the camera that's on the back dock, you understand what I'm saying? The way he was positioned wouldn't be able to see what was going on, right? So they got the pallets stacked up so they can hide on the other side of where they were unloading the stuff and taking it back in. And the other time, they weren't worried about it. They were just trying to keep it kosher. You understand what I'm saying? And the people knew they was unloading it, as long as they didn't do nothing slick. You feel me? So this particular time, they load them pallets up. Now, they can't see. They mainly was trying to block him from seeing them, not necessarily worried about the camera, because the camera, at that time, it was positioned into the kitchen. It's seeing in the kitchen. It didn't see them. You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, while the one dude is talking to him, got him occupied, they lighten him up. They getting all kinds of ice cream up out of there. I'm talking about they tearing him up. But at the same time, they were getting out what he's supposed to have been delivering to the prison too, right? But they're hiding stuff on the pallet. They're taking it on in there. They're getting it on in there, right? So everything gets delivered. And lo and behold, this particular time too, he talking about, man, I can't afford to give y'all nothing this time, but I'm going to look out for y'all when the opportunity permits itself. So they tell him, it's all cool, man. You straight, you can go on and leave, so on and so forth. So he pulls out and he gets up at the trap. And the trap is at the beginning of the prison where it's a gate. And he has to go into the gate. You understand what I'm saying? And then the officers will search it to make sure ain't nobody in the back of the truck. Okay? So he's sitting behind the steering wheel, and the officer tells him to raise the back up, and they raise the back up. And he goes in there. The officer's looking to make sure ain't nobody in, but he notices a lot of these popsicle boxes, like the plastic on, you know how stuff is put on a pallet and wrapped in the plastic to make sure it stays still? The plastic is torn. So it looks suspicious to him. So he asked the driver, the delivery man, he said, could you step out the truck? I need you to look at something real quick. Because he's never noticed it like this. So he gets out and he looks. He said, oh my God, they've robbed me. So the officer says, what you mean? What's going on? Who's robbed you? He said, them damn inmates, they robbed me. So the officer lets him back the truck back into the prison. And he goes back to the kitchen. And then when he gets to the kitchen, he goes to talk to the man that's over the kitchen. And he says, your inmates robbed me. Now, the man that runs the kitchen, he gets all 4 of these lifers to come to him and talk. And he's like, look, what's going on with the truck? He says a lot of stuff is missing on the truck. About $4,000 worth of ice cream candy bars named Magnum. That's a lot of ice cream, y'all. It's a lot of ice cream. I don't know how much they cost, but it's a lot of boxes of ice cream. So they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. We unloaded the ice cream for the compound, but the rest of that stuff, I don't know what you're talking about. So he's yelling at them, calling them all kind of no good degenerates and disses and worthless scum and all this old kind of stuff. You know, the usual stuff that you hear people try to call people that are in prison. He's saying all of this. His true self comes out. He's pissed off at them now, right? I knew I shouldn't have never trusted y'all in the first place. But see, he forgot he was getting free labor and all this and that, right? So anyway, the head man over the kitchen, he has to report it. So internal affairs pops down. And when internal affairs popped down, it was this female. She was over internal affairs. She didn't play. She did not play no game. And when she gets down there, she got all the lifers in the dining room. She's questioning them one at a time. And everybody's saying the same thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So now she's talking to the man that delivered the ice cream. And she's asking him, she said, okay, tell me what's happened. Now keep in mind, this internal affairs, they play strictly by the book. They ain't breaking no rules whatsoever, man. So it was like, okay, when I pulled up to the prison, I got to the kitchen, and every day I back up. When I make my deliveries, I back up, and these guys, they help me unload the truck. She said, hold up, sir, stop. So said, just 1 second. She said, these guys right here help you unload the truck. And he said, yes. She said, they're not supposed to be on the dock. Then he started stumbling and all this thing. And then she said, well, how did you arrange for them to start working with you? He said, I asked the kitchen steward, after I talked to them, and they said, yeah. So she calls the kitchen steward back in there. The kitchen steward said, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. Now, he don't understand penitentiary. He don't understand how the penitentiary works. See, even though the kitchen steward is a free will person, you understand, he ain't finna own up to that to get his own self in trouble. So he said, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. If he's letting them unload that truck back there, then you might need to talk to the guys. So she goes back to the guys and she's talking to them. She said, look, is he paying y'all to unload the truck? She tried to trick them. And they said, look, I don't know what he's talking about, unload no truck. Said, we'll be standing out there, but we don't be unloading the truck. We know we can't get on that truck. And he said, I pay them, I give them nutty bars, and I gave them ice cream, this and that. She said, wait a minute, so you paid them? So you paid my guys to unload the truck. Now he's thinking, all right, I'm in trouble now because he's not supposed to pay us to do anything. We're not supposed to do anything for him. So she said, look, I'll tell you what. We're going to open up an investigation, and I'm going to call your supervisor, and we're going to talk about, what you got going on. You got paying inmates to get on your truck to deliver ice cream, and now you're saying that these inmates have robbed you and stole your ice cream. So he looks at her, and he said, look, don't worry about it. I'm going to eat that. I'm going to have to take the loss. Don't even worry about calling my supervisor. I'll explain that to him about what's going on and why we short on the staff. He said, no problem. Let's just forget about this. She said, are you certain? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. So he gets back on his truck and he leaves. He pulls out. He's gone. She goes back into the dining room. The guys are sitting there. She says, now tell me what really happened. And this is just how it is in the penitentiary. So the lifer that had the most seniority in the group, he said, sit down. She sits down at the table, and he said, is this off the record or on the record in front of everybody? She said, it's off the record. She said, he said, no problem. I just want to know what happened. That's how they do it in terms of, they still just want to know what happened. He said, well, he came out here. He needed help unloading the truck. He paid us nutty bars. We unloaded the truck. One time he paid us with some popsicles. We unloaded the truck. The next 4 or 5 times he came out here, we unloaded the truck. He didn't pay us. And she started laughing. She know where this is going. And he said that last time, which was today, when he came out here and we unloaded the truck, we paid ourselves, back pay. So she started laughing. So everybody sitting around, and then one of the lifers, he had gotten up and he had came back in there and had a box of them Magnum popsicles. Laid the box on the middle of the table. Said, you want one of these? She looked at him and laughed. She said, no, I can't take that. But she said, look, y'all need to get rid of that before anybody comes around here and looking, right? They're like, you the one that's going to do the looking. She said, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. And she said, don't get on no trucks no more, right? So she goes and reports. She got to still report that to the warden. And the story was the warden laughed his butt off. He laughed his butt off. You know what I'm saying? Because he was like, that's what he gets. First of all, he wasn't supposed to have my inmates unload no truck, and then he didn't want to pay him. That's what he get. But he told the internal affairs, make sure that those same inmates don't ever get on those trucks no more, because those guys all of them got life sentences. And again, it goes back to they can't trust us. You know what I'm saying? They're scared to let us get on a truck because they think we might try something, right? And I told this story because I want you to know that, see, a lot of people take advantage of us in here because we got a lot of time. And they think that they can get us to do things, and because, we're here and we're going to be here, so we want to, do whatever. But a lot of people look at us as slaves. A lot of people look at us as slaves, and they don't appreciate the situation that we find ourselves in. Yeah, paying somebody a box of Nutty Bars, first of all, you're getting over in the first place. But we don't get things like that. Yes, they might sell them on the commissary, and then they'll run out, and then we might not get anything like that for 2 or 3 years. Might not get anything like that for 2 or 3 years. And I just want you to think about that. If you're out there and you're doing something, those small things that are insignificant to you now, where you can run into Publix or you can run into any Kroger's or wherever, whatever store you shop at, you can run into any one of those stores and get whatever it is that you want. See, when you're in here, you don't get to go to Walmart. You don't get to go shopping. You don't get to go do any of those things. You don't get to do any of those things. So when somebody shows you some love and does that for you, you appreciate that. But when they start to mistreat you, then you get pissed off. And you start to look at them different. You start to look at them in a way that's like, oh, okay, you're going to do me, now let me do you. I just wanted y'all to understand where we're coming from sometime. I'm not validating and saying anything is right about it. I'm just trying to give you an understanding, because my friends that asked me to do these shows about lifers, they wanted me to explain to you so that you can understand how people that are not getting out of prison or won't be getting out of prison for 30, 40, 50 years, I want you to understand. I want you to understand how we feel and how we see things. Yeah, it might be small and it might be petty to you, but that's because you out there and you're able to go get it when you want to get it and do what you want to do. But when that's taken away from you because of the decision that you've made, of course, then it means something different. It means everything. So just remember that. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all. I've been trying to breathe underwater.